The insult of the galaxy. The grand hall of the Galactic Council glittered with light. Massive banners of alien empires hung from the tall ceilings. The chamber was filled with delegates from across the stars, beings of countless shapes and colors, some with scales, some with wings, some with glowing eyes. They all gathered to discuss matters of power, trade, and war. Among them stood the representatives of Earth, quiet and calm, their uniforms neat but simple, their eyes steady yet every time they spoke or moved. A wave of laughter followed at the center of the hall. Floating above a transparent floor of crystal hung the image of a ship. It was humanity's warship, the vessel they had sent as a symbol of their strength. But to the other races it was nothing more than a joke. "This is your great warship," sneered an elder from the Veskari Empire, his scales shimmering green as he laughed. "It looks like a relic from a forgotten scrapyard." More laughter echoed through the chamber. Some aliens clapped mockingly, others whispered insults. The sound stung like 1,000 needles, but the humans did not flinch. A delegate from the Aranthe swayed her long feathered arms and tilted her head. "Humans, why bring such weakness to this council? Do you expect us to take you seriously?" A ripple of voices followed. "Fragile, outdated, weak." The words spread like fire, and the mocking grew louder, yet the human commander, standing tall in the middle of the storm, simply looked at the projection of the ship, his lips pressed tight, his silence both calm and heavy. To the galaxy, the vessel looked small, its surface scarred with marks of age, its design older than the newest fleets by centuries. Compared to the shining warships of other empires, it seemed fragile, laughable, a toy. But there was something about the way the humans watched it, something in their eyes, not shame, not fear, but something colder, something hidden. The Galactic Council chair, a giant being with translucent skin and veins glowing like rivers, raised one of his many arms. "Order," he thundered. The chamber grew quieter, though smirks and whispers still filled the air. "Humans," the chair declared, "you have come to this council claiming equality, yet your vessel is weak. Why do you present us with such a relic?" The human commander finally raised his eyes. His voice was steady, calm, and sharp like steel. "This ship is our answer," he said. The aliens burst into fresh laughter. The sound rolled through the chamber like thunder. Some fell against their seats in amusement. One alien even mocked. An answer fit only for museums, but beneath the laughter, a few older delegates frowned. Their eyes narrowed. They whispered among themselves. They remembered faint stories, rumors of something ancient, a war long before the council was even formed. Still, the loud voices drowned out the whispers. The mockery continued, and the humans stood in silence, their faces calm, their hearts steady outside the council hall. Docked in orbit above the shining station, floated the very ship being mocked, dark against the bright lights of alien fleets. It seemed small and old, with scars running along its hull, yet it pulsed faintly with hidden power. Like an ancient beast waiting in silence, young alien cadets passed by in their own sleek vessels, pointing and laughing. "Look at that human scrap," they said. "One hit and it will fall apart." Their arrogance blinded them. But inside the human ship, the crew walked its halls with quiet pride. Every corridor echoed with history. Every panel carried the weight of centuries. The ship had survived storms, wars, and ambushes. It had seen more battles than any vessel alive. Back in the council hall, the insults grew sharper. "Humans think they can impress us with junk," one alien roared. "They should bow to true empires still." The humans gave no reply. Their silence became heavier, and the laughter began to sound hollow. The commander looked once more at the projection of the ship, and deep inside he knew the galaxy had no idea what it was mocking, no idea of the secret the vessel carried then. As if to end the humiliation, the council chair slammed his hand upon the crystal table. "Enough," he commanded. "Humans, you will have your chance. We will see if your so-called ship can survive the trials." The chamber quieted. The laughter softened, and in that silence something shifted. Some delegates still smirked, but others stared with unease. The insult had been thrown. The mockery had been loud. But the humans did not bend, and in that moment, the galaxy had unknowingly set the stage for a truth that would shatter their pride. For what they called weak was something far beyond their understanding, and the secret of humanity's 1,000-year-old ship was about to change everything. Whispers of the past. The council chamber was still buzzing after the insult, alien voices echoing through the crystal walls. Some laughed, others dismissed the humans entirely, but a few stayed silent, their faces tight with unease. Those few were old, their eyes heavy with memories. They had heard stories once told in quiet corners of the galaxy, stories about a war so ancient that even the archives refused to speak of it. As the human delegation left the chamber, whispers followed them. "Why are they so calm?" one alien muttered. "Why do they not fight back with words?" another said. "They bring an old ship and no shame. What are they hiding?" The humans walked in silence, their boots steady on the marble floor. Their commander kept his gaze straight. He did not need to answer. The ship itself would one day speak louder than any word. Outside, the ancient vessel floated still in orbit. Alien fleets passed by, sleek and sharp, glowing with modern firepower. Yet their crews stole glances at the scarred human ship, and some cadets shivered, though they could not explain why. Deep inside the ship, crew members moved with purpose. Every hand knew every panel. Every corridor was polished with respect. The ship was not simply metal, it was memory. Young Ensign Lena touched one of the ancient walls, her voice low. "How long has this ship been with us?" she asked. Her captain replied softly. "Longer than any of us can imagine. Longer than most empires have existed," Lena frowned. "Then why do we let them mock us?" The captain gave a small smile. "Because they do not know the truth, they see only rust. Not the fire within." Back in the council station, rumors spread like wildfire. Traders carried tales between markets. "Did you hear about the human ship?" one said. "They claim it is a war vessel, but it looks like a relic." Another laughed, but then lowered his voice. "Some say it comes from the first age of war before the council. Before order." Older aliens grew restless at such words. Some sent secret messages to their homeworlds. Others demanded reports from their intelligence networks. Still, nothing could be confirmed. The humans had locked away their records. In the grand archives of the Tarlan Empire, an elder archivist read an ancient scroll. His eyes widened. "A vessel that survived the Black Fire Wars," he whispered. His assistants looked at him in fear. Such things should not exist anymore. But across the galaxy, those whispers only grew in human quarters aboard the station. The commander looked out of the wide glass window. Alien fleets gliding past, their ships glowing with arrogance. One officer approached him quietly. "Commander, how long can we keep the truth hidden?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "As long as needed, let them laugh, let them think us weak. When the time comes, they will see, and they will remember." A silence filled the room, heavy and certain. Meanwhile, in the alien halls, young officers still mocked. "One blast and their toy ship will scatter into dust," they joked. Yet their commanders scolded them. "Do not underestimate what you do not understand," they said. But their words carried no proof in the deep night of the station. When most slept, strange meetings took place. Secret agents whispered in dark rooms. Spies traded coins for fragments of human history, all searching for one answer. Why did humanity bring an ancient ship instead of their new fleet? Why did they stand silent under the weight of insults? What secret did the vessel hold? And still the humans said nothing. The galaxy thought it was watching weakness, but in truth it was watching patience, because the whispers of the past were beginning to return, like old ghosts rising from the dark, and soon the galaxy would discover that what they laughed at was not a relic, not a scrap of history, but a survivor, a beast older than their proudest fleets. And the secret of humanity's 1,000-year-old ship was waiting to show its teeth. The first test, the days after the council meeting, were heavy with tension. The laughter of the Empire still echoed, but beneath it ran an uneasy silence. Whispers spread from starport to starport, from tavern to tavern about the strange human ship. Then the test came, sudden and violent. Pirates had gathered at the edges of council space. A fleet of scavengers and raiders. Hungry for blood and plunder, they struck without warning, tearing through small colonies, leaving fire in their wake. The council, proud of their fleets, scrambled to respond. But the pirates were fast, merciless, and many of the younger empires hesitated, afraid of losses. In desperation, the council turned their eyes to the humans. "Prove your worth," the chair declared. "Let your vessel defend our borders if it truly is not weak." Mockery laced his tone. But the humans bowed with calm respect. "We will answer," their commander said. And so the ancient ship left orbit, sliding out into the dark sea of stars, its hull scarred, its silhouette simple, mocked by all who watched. Alien cadets cheered as it departed. "They will die quickly," they laughed. "Their fragile relic will be torn apart." But others watched in silence, uneasy, remembering the whispers. The pirates came like a storm, engines blazing, weapons glowing red across the void. They saw the human vessel and roared with cruel delight. "An old husk," they jeered. "Easy prey," they fired. Cannons screaming through the black, plasma bolts hammering the shields. Yet the ancient ship did not fall. It shuddered, but it did not break. Inside, the human crew moved with precision, their hands steady on ancient controls, their voices calm. Adjust shields. Redirect power. Hold the line. Alien observers on distant stations leaned forward. Their eyes wide, they expected collapse, yet the old vessel endured. Then slowly the ship began to answer. A low hum filled its core, an ancient reactor awakening, its glow spreading through the veins of the hull. Weapons long thought dead flickered alive. The first shot fired, not bright and flashy like modern weapons, but heavy deep like the voice of thunder. A pirate cruiser shattered in a single blast, its wreckage spinning into the void. The laughter of the pirates turned to screams. Chaos rippled through their ranks. "What is this?" one shouted. "That ship is no relic." The old human warship moved forward, its cannons roaring, each shot deliberate, precise, unstoppable. Another pirate ship broke apart. Then another. Alien fleets watching from afar froze. Silence filled their command decks. The vessel they mocked was tearing through raiders with terrifying efficiency. But it was not only the firepower, it was the way the ship moved, slow yet deliberate. Every motion like an old warrior dancing with memory. Every strike a reminder of battles fought long ago. Pirates tried to swarm it, their small ships darting in. But the ancient vessel opened side batteries, unleashing storms of fire that swept them away. Inside the council chamber, reports came in. Delegates stared at the images, jaws tight. The same voices that once laughed now whispered in shock. "Impossible," said the Aranthe, feathers trembling. "How can such an old vessel still fight?" The Veskari elder who mocked first now sat in silence. His scales dull with unease, the battle raged. But soon the pirates broke. Their morale shattered, their fleets burning. They scattered into the void, terrified of the ship they thought was weak. The human vessel stood alone in the aftermath, scarred but unbroken, its guns silent once more. Its crew steady, its heart calm. In the silence that followed, the galaxy trembled. Messages spread faster than light. Stories of the battle carried from system to system. The human relic destroyed an entire pirate fleet, voices said. The old ship lives. Aliens who had mocked now spoke carefully, fear in their tones. What else are the humans hiding? How many of these ships do they have? What did they awaken back on the station? When the ship returned, it docked without pride or arrogance. The human crew walked down the ramp in silence, their commander's face calm as stone, and the council waited. No laughter now, only silence, for the galaxy had witnessed the first test, and the truth was becoming harder to deny. The vessel was not weak, it was something else entirely, and its 1,000-year-old secret was only beginning to show. Secrets revealed in battle. The galaxy did not sleep after the first test. News of the human ship's victory spread like fire. Every market stall, every military base, every academy whispered of the relic that fought like a god of war. The council tried to calm the storm, declaring that it was only luck, that the pirates were weak and unprepared, but deep inside their hearts, even the proudest empires felt the sting of doubt. And then came the second battle, a hostile fleet from the Rim territories. Not pirates this time, but soldiers. A warband from the Dravic clans, merciless and disciplined. They had heard of the human ship and wanted to test it themselves. Their fleet was not small. Dozens of cruisers, swift and armed with plasma torpedoes. They sent a challenge across the stars. "We will break your relic in front of the galaxy," their warlord declared. His fangs gleaming, the council approved, eager to prove humanity's weakness once and for all. They wanted to watch the so-called relic fall under real power. But when the human commander heard the challenge, he only nodded, his voice calm. "We accept." The battlefield was chosen. A dark stretch of space near the shattered moons of Karath. Ruins of old wars drifted silently. Ancient bones of fleets long gone. The Dravic ships arrived first, their hulls glowing red, engines burning like fire. They moved in formation, their weapons armed, their confidence unshaken. Then came the human vessel, slow, scarred, silent, as if the void itself parted to let it pass. Alien spectators across the galaxy tuned in. War rooms filled with commanders, scholars, and spies. All eager to see the truth revealed, the Dravic opened fire, their torpedoes streaking through the black. Explosions lit the void. A storm of destruction fell upon the human ship. But when the fire cleared, the ship still stood, its shields flickering with ancient energy, its hull unbroken inside. The crew remained calm, their voices steady.
"Systems holding, weapons charged, awaiting command." The commander raised his hand.
And the ship answered. Its weapons came alive. Not like modern guns with sleek beams, but something deeper, something older. Massive cannons rotated with a growl of ancient gears, their barrels glowing with energy unseen for centuries. The first volley fired, and a Dravik cruiser exploded instantly, torn in half, its pieces scattering across the ruined moons. The galaxy gasped, voices trembled. What weapons are those? That technology should not exist. The human ship fired again, each strike precise, unstoppable. Ships fell one after another. The Dravik formation broke, their discipline shattering under the storm. But the ship revealed more than firepower. As the Dravik attempted to flank, the old vessel shifted. Its armor plates moved, revealing hidden launch bays from them. Swarms of drones emerged, machines older than any alien had ever seen, yet they moved with terrifying speed. The drones struck like knives, cutting engines, disabling weapons, boarding ships with silent precision. The Dravik warlord screamed in rage. "Impossible!" he roared. "This is no relic. This is a monster." Alien spectators leaned closer to their screens. Scholars scribbled frantically. "That technology predates the Council," they whispered. "It belongs to the First Age, still." The battle raged, but the outcome was already written. The human ship cut through the enemy fleet like a blade through water, its scars glowing with the fire of survival, its silence more terrifying than any war cry. Finally, the Dravik fleet broke apart. Those who could fled into the void. Those who could not were left to drift among the shattered moons. When silence returned to the battlefield, the human vessel stood alone once more, scarred but undefeated, a survivor among ruins. Back in the council chambers, no one laughed, no one mocked. The air was heavy, the truth undeniable. 1,000 voices whispered, "What is that ship? How can humans control it? How much do they hide?" The human commander stood before them once more, his eyes steady, his words few. "This ship is our history. It is our memory. It is our strength." The council sat in silence, their pride broken, their fear rising. For in the secrets revealed in battle, they saw not weakness, but a storm sleeping inside humanity. And the galaxy realized that the insult they had thrown had awoken something they could never control. The legacy of Earth. The council chamber had never been so silent. The great hall that once rang with laughter and mockery now felt heavy, as if every word spoken might shatter the fragile air. The humans stood at the center, calm as ever, their uniforms simple, their expressions unreadable behind them. The image of their ship floated above the crystal floor, scarred and silent. No longer a joke, but a question burning in every mind. Finally, the council chair spoke, his many eyes fixed on the human commander. "Tell us," he demanded, his voice low and trembling. "What is that vessel? How does it carry weapons no one has seen in 1,000 years?" The human commander did not answer right away. He let the silence stretch. Let the weight of curiosity press upon every delegate. Then at last his voice came, steady and cold. "You call it weak, but it is older than your empires. This ship was forged when humanity first reached for the stars." A murmur rippled through the hall. Feathers rustled, scales tightened. Wings shifted uneasily. The commander stepped forward, his shadow stretching across the crystal floor. "Long before the council, before your laws, before your treaties, there were wars," he said. "Our ancestors built this ship to survive those wars, and it did. For 1,000 years it has endured, carrying scars from battles forgotten by history." Whispers broke out. Some delegates leaned close to their aides. Others shook their heads in disbelief, but none could deny the evidence they had already seen. An elder from the Talric Union leaned forward, his voice trembling. "Impossible. No vessel lasts that long." The commander met his gaze. "This one did," he said. "It fought in the Black Fire Wars. It endured the silence years when fleets were consumed by storms of radiation. It was there when the first council was born. It has seen your empires rise, and it has watched them fall." The chamber erupted. Voices clashed, some shouting for proof, others demanding humanity surrender the vessel. Still others spoke in fear, whispering of legends they hoped were false. "This cannot be allowed," cried one delegate. "If humanity controls relics from the First Age, they hold a weapon against us all. They must be forced to share their technology," shouted another, his tendrils lashing angrily. But through the chaos, the human commander raised his hand, his voice cut through the storm. "This ship is not a weapon for conquest," he declared. "It is a reminder, a witness to our history. It is proof that humanity does not break, even when the galaxy tries to crush us." His words silenced the chamber once more, and then he told them what none expected. For centuries we kept this ship hidden, he said. We rebuilt her when she broke. We carried her through wars and storms, not because we needed her guns, but because she carries the memory of every soul who fought for Earth, every life lost to protect our kind. She is our legacy. She is our promise, that we will never be erased. The galaxy listened, shaken to the empires. Warships were tools built and discarded, replaced with newer and stronger designs. But to the humans, this vessel was not only steel, it was blood, history, and faith. The elder archivist from the Tarlan Empire whispered to himself, "They are not showing strength, they are showing endurance. No empire can match that." The council chair's glowing veins dimmed, his voice heavy. If this is true, then humanity carries a legacy older than us all. The commander gave no smile, no boast, only silence, his eyes sharp as blades. In the corners of the chamber, spies sent secret messages back to their rulers. Humanity has revealed part of their truth, they wrote. And the galaxy trembles, but even then, many knew. This was not the full truth. If one ship survived 1,000 years, how many more relics lay hidden in the shadows of Earth? The laughter that once filled the halls had turned to fear, and the legacy of Earth, once mocked, now hung like a shadow over the galaxy. The empires who once called the ship weak could no longer look upon it without unease, for in its scars they saw their own future, a future where humanity, the race they had dismissed, might one day stand above them all. And the 1,000-year secret was no longer a whisper. It was a storm rolling across the stars. Fear across the stars, fear spread faster than light. Every empire, every colony, every hidden outpost was whispering the same words. The humans had revealed a ship older than the council itself, a warship that had endured 1,000 years. What once had been laughter now became silence. What once had been insults now turned into caution. In the war rooms of the Aranthi Empire, feathered generals gathered, their voices sharp with panic. If humanity has one ship like this, they may have more, one said, his feathers trembling. How can we face a fleet of relics built from the first wars? In the halls of the Veskari Empire, the elder who once mocked humanity sat in silence. His scaled hands clenched. He remembered old legends, stories of ancient Terran warriors who never surrendered. He thought those tales were myths. Now he realized they were warnings. Across the stars, governments debated. Some wanted alliance to bring humanity closer. To share in their secrets, others wanted war. To strike before the humans grew too strong. But none could agree, because all of them were afraid. Traders spoke of it in markets. Smugglers whispered it in shadows. Pirates told it with trembling voices. The human relic destroyed fleets, they said. The old ship moves like a beast that cannot die. On distant academies, young cadets stared at the recordings of the battles, their eyes wide. This is not technology, one whispered. This is survival carved into steel in human space. The atmosphere was calm. Earth's people did not boast. They did not shout victory. Instead, they honored the ship in silence, treating it like family. Children laid flowers at its image. Veterans saluted its name. The human commander knew the galaxy's eyes were on them. He felt the pressure of every empire, but he did not bend. Instead, he said to his crew, "Let them fear, we do not seek war, but if war finds us, this ship will remind them who we are." Back in the council, secret meetings grew. Shadows filled the chambers. Spies carried messages in coded tongues. One delegate whispered, "If humanity has one relic, they may hide more on Earth, hidden under oceans, buried in deserts, locked away in vaults," another answered. "We cannot allow them to rise unchecked." Plots began to form, alliances of fear. Empires who once hated each other now considered working together against humanity, but all of them hesitated. None wanted to strike first, because if the humans had more secrets, the price of failure would be too high. Fear turned into paranoia. Ships patrolled borders more heavily. Fleets were recalled from the edges of space. The galaxy braced itself for something it could not name. In a lonely station at the edge of neutral space, two alien merchants whispered over their drinks. "It is not just a ship," one said, his eyes wide. "It is a symbol." The humans kept it alive not because of its weapons, but because of its story. The other nodded. "And that story is stronger than any fleet." The galaxy began to realize something far worse than an old warship. They realized humanity did not measure strength in numbers, or in shiny weapons. They measured it in survival, in endurance and scars. This terrified them more than cannons, because a species that cannot be broken is a species that will one day rise above all. As fear spread, so did desperation. Some empires sent envoys, offering alliances, pretending kindness, but their eyes betrayed suspicion. Others sent spies. Trying to dig deeper into Earth's hidden past, none succeeded. The human commander watched all of this unfold with quiet eyes. He knew the galaxy was moving. He knew fear was now their greatest weapon and their greatest danger. Inside the ancient ship, its core hummed with steady energy. The crew felt its pulse like a heartbeat, and they whispered among themselves. "They call us weak," one said. "But look how the galaxy trembles, and far above, among the stars, the empires whispered their own truth. They had once laughed at humanity. Now they feared them, and the 1,000-year-old secret had turned from legend to nightmare. But still the humans remained silent. Calm, patient, waiting, for the storm was not yet over, and the galaxy had not yet seen humanity's final reply. Humanity's final reply, the galaxy was restless. Fear crawled through every empire, and whispers turned into plans. In hidden chambers, rulers debated. Should they strike humanity before it was too late? Should they demand the secrets of the old warship? Should they unite against the species they once mocked? But when the council called for one last meeting, the humans came again, calm as ever. Their commander walked into the grand hall, his boots steady, his face unreadable. Behind him, the image of the ancient ship hovered above the crystal floor, a silent reminder of everything that had changed. The council chair's voice was heavy. "Humanity, the galaxy fears what you hide," he said. "Tell us now, how many of these relics do you possess? How many monsters sleep in your vaults?" Every eye turned to the humans. Wings trembled. Scales shifted. Claws tapped nervously on polished tables. The silence was a storm ready to break. The human commander raised his head, his voice calm but firm. "You call them monsters," he said, "but to us they are family. We do not count them as weapons. We count them as memory." A murmur rippled through the chamber, some confused, others angry. The commander continued, "We do not seek to conquer. We do not seek to rule over the galaxy, but we will never bow. This ship you call weak has endured for 1,000 years because it carries our history. Every scar is the mark of survival. Every wound is a voice from the past, and it will never be forgotten." He paused, letting the weight of his words fall. Then he said something that froze every heart in the room. "This ship is not the only one, but it is the only one you will ever see." Gasps filled the chamber. Some shouted in fear, others in rage, but no one dared laugh. The commander's eyes burned with quiet fire. "You think strength is measured by shiny fleets, by numbers, by who has the newest cannon. But humanity's strength is measured in something you cannot destroy. Resilience, endurance. The will to rise again no matter how many times we fall." His voice grew sharper. "You mocked us, you called us weak, but look at yourselves now. Trembling, plotting, afraid of a single ship, do you not see? It was never about the ship, it was about us, about who we are." The hall fell into silence, no alien dared speak. The truth of his words was a blade cutting deep outside the station. The ancient warship floated in orbit, silent and scarred, yet its presence was louder than any fleet. Alien ships that once circled it in mockery now kept their distance, fearful of its unseen power. The commander lowered his voice, almost a whisper, yet it carried through the chamber. "We will not attack you. We will not invade your empires. But know this, if you ever try to break us, if you ever come to our world with fire in your hearts, then this ship will rise. And it will not rise alone." The council froze. No one knew if it was a threat or a promise, but it felt heavier than war. The humans bowed slightly, a gesture of respect, then turned and walked away, their footsteps echoing through the silent hall. No laughter followed them this time, no mocking voices, only the quiet breath of fear. And as the humans departed, every empire knew the truth. They had insulted humanity. They had mocked their relic, but in the end, it was the galaxy that stood humbled. Because humanity's final reply was not in guns, not in fleets, but in the unshakable truth that they could never be broken. And the 1,000-year-old ship, once called weak, now stood as the strongest symbol in the galaxy. The empires would never look at Earth the same again, for the legacy of humanity had spoken and the galaxy would never forget.